Coming up on this episode of the Striving Satisfied Lifestyle, I work from home, I take care of our son, and people would call me throughout the day or text me throughout the day, and they'd want to talk, which I love talking to people. Like, this whole episode is making me sound like I hate everybody, but we'll deal with that after. I wanted to make this episode for you today because I struggled for years hanging out with people that I didn't want to be hanging out with. I had no boundaries around my time. I had just no boundaries in general. And as an adult, I've realized that I grew up in a household that had no boundaries. They didn't have boundaries with each other. They didn't have boundaries with people outside of our family. It's a long story, but I'm not going to get into it because as adults, it's on us. It doesn't matter what our childhood was like, how we grew up. I didn't have a bad childhood, but there were things that I want to do different as an adult. So it's on us to do those things, right? It's on us to learn about different ways and different types of lifestyles so that we can live a lifestyle that we truly like. And what I've figured out is that boundaries are pretty much the key to everything. I've realized that without boundaries, you're not going to have the life that you want. You can have as much clarity as you can possibly have about what you want and what you need for yourself, your spouse, and your family. But if you don't have boundaries to protect those things that you want, you're not going to have that life. I'm going to share 3 practical, simple, implementable, if that's a word, I'm pretty sure it is, things that you can actually use in your own life. These aren't going to be things like say no first or learn how to say no or how to stop feeling guilty when saying no. So without further ado, let me get started with number 1. All right, so number 1 is get busy. And I know you're probably thinking, Kyle, I'm busy enough. I don't need anything else on my plate right now. But just please hear me out for a minute because this strategy is what will make you have boundaries in your life. This is what will cause you to have boundaries in your life. And I want to start by saying, think of this as a lifestyle shift because that's what Striving Satisfied is all about, is improving your lifestyle, improving the way you live on a daily basis. So you can live an unhealthy lifestyle or you can live a healthy lifestyle. It takes a lot of work to change, of course, but this strategy is the lifestyle of having boundaries versus the lifestyle where you have no boundaries, and the foundation of it is getting busy. The reason for this is because I used to say yes to everything and to everyone. It's like I'd say yes to things I didn't want to do, and those things would be with people that I didn't want to be hanging out with. And I'd get off the phone after talking to somebody and be like, why did I commit to that? I did not want to do that thing, especially with that person. So if you've had anything or any experience in your life that's been like that, this is going to help you. So I teach in Striving Satisfied that there's 5 main areas of your life. I'm sure there's others, but this is what I've come up with as the core 5 areas. Number 1 is goals. Number 2 is projects. Number 3 is adventure. 4 is celebrations. And 5 are extended relationships. So goals, pretty straightforward. I just view them as things that you have to develop as a person, right? You have to develop a skill or a habit in order to accomplish them. Or you have to do something better in order to accomplish them. So that to me is a goal. Whether it's as an individual, as a couple, or as a family, you have to develop into that goal so that you can achieve it. Whereas a project is more of the things that you have to get done. Clean out the basement, clean out the garage because you can't fit your car in there, clean out the linen closet, whatever thing that you have to just get done. It doesn't require developing skills or growing as an individual or as a couple. It's just like we have to clean the fridge out, right? And then adventure is just what do you want to do for fun? What experiences do you want to have? And then important celebrations, what do you want to celebrate? My wife and I, we celebrate the anniversary of buying our home, the anniversary of us dating, our wedding anniversary. We like to celebrate as much as possible because it also helps us be grateful for everything that we have and for each other. So those are the 4 core areas. The 5th one, extended relationships. Think of your family as your immediate family. That's like your unit, your spouse, your kids, and you, maybe grandparents if you consider them immediate family. Extended relationships are anyone outside of that little circle. And the reason I call them extended relationships is because if you focus on them too much, they will leave you feeling extended. And you've probably had this experience before where you say yes to having lunch with Susie, you say yes to drinks with Dave, and then all of a sudden you're like, I haven't worked out for 3 days or 4 days, or I haven't organized that thing that I needed to do because I was focused on these other people. So extended relationships are just people outside of your immediate family that will leave you feeling extended if you focus on them too much. My point is that we have to start getting busy towards the right things, which I would suggest you can come up, even if you made a list of like your top 5 priorities in your life right now for yourself, for your family, or for you and your spouse as a couple, and focused on those. But if you want to use my core 4 categories, goals, projects, adventure, and important celebrations, definitely do that. But what you should do is look at the next 3 months. Let's say you're doing this in April. I'd have 3 sheets of paper, one for May, one for June, and one for July. And on there, I'd put 4 boxes and have goals, projects, adventure, and important celebrations on each sheet. And then what I do is write out the things that fit into those categories that you truly want to have in your life, that you want to experience, that you want for your family over the next 3 months. Once you do that, go ahead and put them in your calendar. It doesn't have to be set in stone. What I usually do is like, I'll put projects on a piece of paper. I'll write down all the projects we want to get done. And then I'll go to my calendar and I'll just block out house weekends. So it'll be like May 5th through the 7th, it'll just say house weekend. And I know that's for projects. That's like these projects are going to get done. So the reason for this, so that's what I want you to do. But the reason for this is that when someone calls you and asks, hey, do you want to do this? Or, hey, can you help me do Y? You can look at your calendar and know for certain that you took the time to plan things out and you already have something important scheduled. Even if it's going apple picking. I use this example quite a bit, but let's say somebody asks you to come over on Saturday to hang out for the day. If you look at your calendar and you see, oh, we're going apple picking that day, it's like a no-brainer. No, sorry, we're busy, we're going apple picking. You don't have to tell them what you're doing, but if you want to, you already have apple picking on your calendar. Whereas before I did this, I'd look at my calendar and I'd see nothing there, and I'd be like, honey, like, you think we should do this? She'd say yes or no, and we'd decide together after, and we'd probably go and do it because we hadn't intentionally set our time to do that. So to wrap up with number 1, you have to get busy with prioritized things. Whether you make your own list or you use my 4 categories, goals, projects, adventure, and important celebrations, and then just block out your calendar. Don't worry about getting all the details right. Just simply get this done so that when you look at your calendar, you have something that is important to you and your family already on there for that time. I just wanted to jump in here and say, if you're feeling disconnected from yourself and your family, go download my free connection rhythm activity. It's what I use in my own life to reconnect and stay connected to the people that I love most. It's a simple 1-page activity. You can complete it in less than 30 minutes, so it's not going to take you all day, but it will drastically improve your relationship with yourself, your spouse, and your kids. Just go to strivingsatisfied.com/start to download it. There's no strings attached, but now let's get back to the episode. All right, so number 2, this one is awesome, I think, but it's assigning visiting weeks or assigning visiting days. Now, this is for parents out there who have grandparents that constantly want to come over. This is for people that constantly have people that want to have their time, right? They constantly want to go out to dinner. They constantly want you to come over. They constantly want to come over to your house. This one thing will change everything because it will completely remove the guilt from your life. What you do with this is think of someone in your life that doesn't necessarily annoy you. Maybe they do, but they want too much of your time. Like, you want to spend time with them, but you just are like, I can only do 2 times per month or 1 time per month. Think of who that person is and then go to your calendar. And what my wife and I do is we do extended family visits. So we have a lot of family that wants to come over because I work from home. I'm at home taking care of our son, and they know that. So they think that I'm constantly doing nothing. What we've done is every 3 weeks, Tuesday through Thursday, every 3 weeks, I put on my calendar extended family visits. And that's it. And how this will help you, let's say it's your child's grandparents. All you do is put on your calendar grandparent visits, whatever works for you and your family. It could be any day of the week. It could be 4 days in a row, 3 days in a row, where now these aren't days that you're going to have them over, but these are days that would work for you and your family to have them over. And how this translates into real life is when someone calls you, one of these people, and says, hey, Saturday, you want to come over for dinner? Or Sunday, you want to do this? Thursday night, let's go have a drink. What you do is say, no, I can't. I'm sorry. I'm busy. I'm not really sorry. I have other things that I'm working on. But how about you come over or we go do this on the 12th, 13th, or 14th? Does that work for you? 99% of the time it does, because these people want to see you. You're important to them. They're important to you. And you are intentionally making time for them. So there's no reason to feel guilty. You are just creating a boundary around your time and your family by saying, this doesn't work for me, but I have this time set aside for you guys. I wouldn't tell them that you have, every 3 weeks on your calendar where they can stop by and come over and see you. But the bottom line is that when you have people in your life that don't have a lot going on and they constantly want your time, you have to put these designated times in your calendar so that when they contact you, in a split second, you can be like, let me look at my calendar. Okay, nope, this doesn't work for me, but these 3 days at the end of the month actually work. Does that work for you? They always say yes because they want to come over. And if it doesn't work for them, then you'll get them on the next time, because it can be every 2 weeks. It can be once a month. It can be every 2 months. Whatever works for you and your family, just be intentional, decide together with your spouse, and get it on your calendar blocked out for those people. If things come up that you need to do during those days, you can always move it to the week after, the week before, it doesn't matter, but just assigning weeks for visits of extended family or anyone in an extended relationship with you. This one was a game changer for me because like I said, I work from home, I take care of our son, and people would call me throughout the day or text me throughout the day, and they'd want to talk, which I love talking to people. Like, this whole episode is making me sound like I hate everybody, but we'll deal with that after. I don't. I'm an introvert, but I'm right on the line, I think, but that doesn't matter to you at all. You don't care. So people essentially call me all the time because they think that I'm doing nothing because I'm at home working. They are calling when it's convenient for them. So I'm sure you have people in your life that always seem to call when you're in the middle of dinner. They always seem to call when you're on your way to work. And they're also typically, at least in my life, they're the people that when you say, hey, I gotta go, they're like, oh yeah, no problem. So the other day I just wanted to share this with you real quick. So and then 5 minutes later, you're like, hey, look, I really got to go. I'm at work, or I've got something to do. I have to do this. The point is, they are calling when it is convenient for them. And when that happens, when it's convenient for them and you answer, then you end up being inconvenienced or not getting something done, which goes back to number one with the goals, the adventure, the projects, and the important celebrations. You may be in the middle of one of those four things or something else, but they are calling when it's convenient for them. So what number 3 is, use your phone's do not disturb feature. I'm telling you right now, this is something that makes such a difference because you're not interrupted constantly. And it may not be as constant for you as it is for me, but when we don't have a boundary on our time, that just means anybody can take that time from us. And I've had plenty of times where I answer the phone because I'm like, oh, this person's calling me, I'll answer it real quick and I'll get back to what I was doing. And then 45 minutes goes by and I'm still on the phone, and then my son wakes up and it's time to do all the dad stuff that I am so lucky to do all the time, but I didn't get to the things that I was hoping to while he was napping. And it got very frustrating for me because I wasn't able to get things done that I needed to and wanted to. So I started using my phone's do not disturb feature, and it's very easy to set up. I'm not going to go into that, but essentially use that, set all day. So like I have about 5 or 6 people that are not blocked from my do not disturb feature. And that's just simply because they're not people that call me all the time to discuss things for long periods of time. But the point is, I do have people on there. Like my wife is on there. She can call, text, whatever. It always comes through. And there's a few other people. But you can make it all do not disturb, or you can make it where a select group of people can reach out to you, and you know the people already that I'm talking about. But that's number 3. Use your phone's do not disturb feature. I use it all the time. I check my phone when it's convenient for me. So rather than having them call and interrupt me when it's convenient for them, I check my phone when it's convenient for me. And this just makes it where you are able to focus on the important things in your life. Not that they're not important, but you have things that you need to do. You have things that you want to do. And you cannot continue to let people take away from that. So that's number 3. I'm going to wrap up just by giving you the key takeaways from this is just, number 1, get busy with things that are important. That's it. Look at the next 3 months and say, how are we going to spend our weekends and our weeks over the next 3 months on important things, goals, projects, adventure, and important celebrations. Number 2, simple, assign weeks for visiting of extended family, because I love spending time with my extended family, but I also am prioritizing my immediate family, and that requires being intentional, and that also prevents any form of guilt because I have sat down with my wife and we've figured out what schedule works to have those people come and see us, right? Or for us to go see them. And then number 3 is just use your phone's do not disturb feature. Those 3 things are creating a lifestyle where you have boundaries. Before I go, I just want to remind you to go download my Connection Rhythm activity. It's completely free and it will help you so much to start reconnecting with yourself, your spouse, and your kids. Just go to strivingsatisfied.com/start. And just remember, our lives are a result of what we do on a daily basis. So let's enjoy where we're at today while doing what's necessary to make our lives even better in the future.